Welcome back to AlphaCars and Motorcycles. My name is Ian, and today I'm showing you a really cool Ford F100 on this beautiful fall day here in New England. This is a 1958 Ford F100 Styleside, and it has Ford's 292 Y-block V8 and a 3 on the tree. So this has really been meticulously cared for over the years, and that's what we're going to go over in this video, is the general condition and a little bit of the history about it. So the previous owner had this in his private collection for many years. Before he had it in his collection, a restoration was done, that being the exterior and an engine rebuild. So all those specifics can be found in our listing on alphacars.com, as there is a lot of specifics, especially with that engine rebuild, of what was done. But of what we can see on the outside here, the original color is Colonial White, and we can see this Goldenrod two-tone was added during the restoration, and as well as color-matched front and rear bumpers. So really awesome and clean looking, in my opinion. So this also has a set of the Colonial White wheels and the original Ford center caps here. Now this truck runs incredibly strong, which we will hear it run here in a few minutes, and it shifts through the gears wonderfully on that column mounted 3-speed gearbox. So really no expense was spared in caring for this truck, and with the mechanical and paint work that was done, and it just really shows. So let's take a peek in the bed here. There's a few leaves in here, as it is fall time and leaves are blowing around like crazy, but you can just see how clean it is. Very clean for a work truck, as it was in its day. And we have the spare wheel mounted in the bed in that Colonial White color as well. It has drum brakes all around, which they work great. You got to put a little bit of pressure in that pedal, but they do work great at stopping it. And the tires are all at 50% life. So now I'm just going to show you a little closer at the paintwork here. You can really see it was a really nice paint job that was done, and it looks quite awesome, especially with those color matched bumpers. So now let's take a look in the interior and check it out. So you have this step in the cab to get in. This color matched dash. The condition of the interior is really quite amazing. You can see the 3 pedals there, that column shifter. Looking up at the ceiling, we have the dome light on the back here, and this dual sun visors, which were a big deal in this truck's day. And there's also a handy oil pressure gauge here next to the parking brake. Okay, so now I've got a treat for you. I'm going to start this F100 up, and we're just going to go around the building a couple times and just get a feel for how this thing runs and drives. So let's get to it. Key, a little bit of choke, it's a little cold, neutral. A little more choke, parking brake off, or neutral. So we've got the 3 on the tree here, and we've got manual drum brakes all around. So it's going to be a fun ride. Now this gearbox, as with some of the older 3 on the trees, not synchronized. So it takes a little finesse dropping it into gear and shifting without making a lot of, unpleasant noises. So we've got this awesome steering wheel, feels great in the hand. With how big this is, it's very easy to turn, as you'll be doing a lot of turning with the ratios here in this truck. Brake test, yeah, stops good. The clutch and all the components were one of the things that was replaced when this truck had the engine rebuilt. So really an awesome day to be out in this truck. And I mean, it turns heads. I had people coming in the dealer while I was filming, really amazed at this and complimenting it. We'll try for second here, get up a little speed, right into second, very smooth, no drama. I mean, in this truck, you're not going to get anywhere super fast, but it is spunky. Like, you will have a smile on your face wherever you are going, and be putting a smile on everyone else's face who sees you. And now let's take a look at that 292 Y block that was rebuilt. You can see really how clean the engine bay is, the firewall. Really a silky smooth idle. No hunting of the revs or any ticking of any sort. It's really they did a great job on this rebuild. It really runs as smooth as a new engine. Turn that off here. And now let's take a look at the underbody, as I mentioned, as that is really a treat with how well preserved it's been over the years. I've got the Ford up on the lift now. This is all original patina, never been undercoated or primed, just cleaned. Now we'll walk from the front to the back. It's really a survivor, this truck. I mean, it looks better than a lot of modern vehicles that live through wintry climates with all the salt that's used. So you can see here, looks like the truck was maybe loved a little too much and maybe pulled or towed incorrectly. So there is that kink in this little cross member here. Doesn't affect anything, and that could easily be straightened if so desired. And going to this passenger side of the cab, we can see a little bit of notes of rust here that I want to disclose, but the other side is clean. So like I said, this truck is really a survivor with the age that it has and the condition that it's in. So now going over just some of the wheel wells. So we can see when the exterior was painted, they did kind of prime and treat the wheel wells, so you can really see how well, how good of condition they're in. And they're nice and protected. Now the passenger front. And we've got the passenger rear here.
My name is Dimitri, and Ian did a great job showing you around the truck. I'm going to show you some blemishes. This is an older restoration. It's an amazing job. It's an amazing solid truck, but it is a vehicle that has been around. It has been in the shop. And when I say has been around, it's been around a very nice climate controlled garage where there is a collection of beautiful vehicles. And this was one of them. But still, there are some blemishes, there are some imperfections, and we would like to set your expectations, especially if you're gonna be one of the lucky owners, next owners of this truck. So let's get right to it. As Ian covered in his segment, it is a beautiful truck. It is rewarding to be around it. It's rewarding to be driving it. But let's take a look at some of the things that I would point out if I was asked to look at this truck by the buyer. Let's say you hired me to look at this truck, but I'm going to point out one area. So, and it's going to be tough to show it on the camera, but yeah, right in this area, check that out. There's a little bit of paint aging defect. It's barely noticeable, but we're going to disclose that. I don't think it's going to change much with time now that it's what it is. And there's a tiny little bit in this area. Again, we're getting very, very, very picky because we are very picky. So we're going to tell you everything that we can possibly see about this truck. With old paint, a lot of things can happen. Sometimes it starts cracking. This paint has practically no cracks, but there are two spots. One right here, pointing that out, and another one right here, pointing that out. And there are tiny little cracks. Again, I wouldn't worry about them because I'd probably just clean them and fill them with either clear coat, a little bit of white paint and clear coat. So you can definitely maintain it and keep an eye on it because the rest of the hood is actually very, very good. There may be something else I'm not seeing, but it is not obvious. There's not much. Yeah, this is it. So there's another small area. I think this is a scratch that was, it's not a crack, it is a scratch that got scratched through the metal. And you can see a tiny little bit of rust, easy fix. As far as the bumper, we're gonna look at that. And the bumper has been refinished. You can see some surface paint cracking around this mounting bolt, not uncommon, just because there's a lot of vibrations. Just think of this overhang, and there's some vibrations going on here. That is going to may cause some, for sure, paint cracking. That's what happened there. The lower valance actually looks very, very nice, very nice. So that's there, that's great. Let's take a look under the hood. So when we look at the hood underneath, you can see very, very nice. And hood is usually situated under the, on top of the hot engine. So you'd see often some paint issues, nothing like that over here. Nice and good. Because it's the underside, when it was refinished, you can see that someone felt it's okay to do a little paint run, so it's right there. Again, not a big deal. There's a tiny little bit of what we call seam release. So there's a pinch weld right here, and it's not really like a big deal rust issue, but from the pinch weld, there's a little bit of rusty water release, so just something to keep an eye on, and certainly nothing to be concerned. There are even rubber stops in the proper places. We'll take a peek at the engine, which is absolutely amazing, and Ian did a great job showing you how it runs. It's very, very smooth. Oil is nice and clear, and of course we did a complete vehicle checkup, and the suspension, all the other components are very nice. There's a nice like little mark right there, and it's just a landing mark for the safety hook. So that's okay, that's totally fine. Let's take a look at the door jambs. Well, we're gonna look at also at the jambs around the hood, and they're actually in very nice condition. You can see the hardware was properly treated during the paint work. And this was not like a massive restoration. It looks like it was a good solid truck that someone wanted to make it look better. And they did this beautiful paint job. So as you look at the door jambs, you're gonna see that, again, nice and solid, a little bit of, again, what we call rust seepage, which doesn't mean that, in fact, we know there's no structural damage, there's not much going on, but you can certainly clean it up and treat it with like fluid film or some other penetrating material to seal it. You can see cab corners in great condition. The bottom of the doors are nice and solid. You can see that right here. A little bit of tape marks. So in other words, when the door was refinished, the door seal was not removed. It was actually taped, and they did a great job with taping it throughout the perimeter. A little chip right here. And this is actually a typical area where things get out of control and start rusting badly, just because you have the door frame component and you have the outer skin, and the skin is wrapped around the door frame, and it's kind of like squeezed here. So from the inside, the moisture gets trapped there and things start to rust. And you would see a lot of bubbling on doors, and this door is actually in very good condition, but there's one spot we're going to identify right here. So there's a tiny little bubble. It's the only bubble on this truck, kind of like an individuality mark. Interesting how they treated the window. I think they kept the window inside, and they did a really good job. Most likely they pulled up the rubber. There's a little tiny paint taping mark right there, but a very nice clean taping job. So this is probably the original placement of the window since it was built, maybe, just my guess. Typical sealer cracking on the bottom. This may be still the factory sealant, which cracks, and you can see that. Yeah, zoomed in so you can see it right there. Again, none of it is a big deal. It's actually a very easy fix, but we do want to disclose that. So the bed is the bed, and it's actually in great condition. There's some light surface. I wouldn't even say it's rust. Look at that. I bet you it will come. Yeah, you can just wipe that off, so that comes right off. But that's there for now. So the back, actually the forward part of the bed is in really nice condition. Some little bit of old paint flaking, but again, very, very solid. Back window was taped. You can see the tape line on the very, very bottom. They did a great job. But if you look at the shelf, there's absolutely no rust, no bubbling, nicely done. Here's the roof transition line. And the passenger door. Again, door jamb, very presentable. Really nice. The bottom of the door, nice and solid, no rust, and a little bit of taping job. And the door seal is nice and soft. It is not cracking. So the roof, actually this looks very, very nice. I don't see any concerns on the roof. And we're going to spend another minute in the bed. Spare wheel mount. Now, the driver's door, here's the gap on this side. And over here. And over here. Very good. If I look in this plane, you can see things line up nicely. Sticking out here a little bit, so could use an adjustment, but we are offering for you to make that adjustment. Actually, it's pretty easy, just the lock adjustment right there. If you're interested in the truck, definitely give us a call or send us a note through the website. We'll be very happy to help you. In the meantime, we hope you enjoyed this video from AlphaCars, and if you did enjoy it, please give it a like, consider sharing, subscribing so you don't miss exciting content. Thanks for watching, and until next time.